Ясно. Бакс. Я тоже думаю. Вот это было. Да, конечно.
тех пор делайте это по-старому. 60 секунд, которые ты не забудешь никогда. Начинаем. Ваша задача просто смотреть на картинки и повторять за мной слова. Первое слово – слово «колодец». Well. Представьте, что огромный великан наступил в колодец. Well, well, well. Подушка. По-английски будет pillow. Pillow. Представьте, что подушку пилят пилой.
Когда болит голова, чем вы себе объясняете это? Погода, усталость, не выспались или это наследственное? Хватит придумывать объяснения за врачей. Хватит таскать с собой везде таблетки. Друзья, я доктор Шишонин, я уже много лет помогаю людям избавиться от регулярных головных болей и мигрени. Да, я знаю кое-что, что действительно уникально и помогает людям забыть дорогу в аптеку. Приходите на мой бесплатный вебинар, и вы сможете при любой погоде и с любой наследственностью чувствовать себя хорошо. Более того, вы и детей научите моим методикам. Пусть вся семья будет здорова. Для этого я и записываю этот ролик. Регистрируйтесь по ссылке, и до встречи завтра. Я буду рад пообщаться и помочь вам найти и победить причину головных болей и предотвратить
До 1 января, в смысле?
Welcome again. It's Thursday, the 30th of December. Still, it's in the evening. Now, I want to do a bit of a sort of orientation of what's going on in the pandemic, really, because I really believe we are in the end stage of it now. Omicron, I think, will finish
Нет,
this
смотри,
pandemic
если
off.
завтра, кто... Оно может не помочь, скорее всего, или наоборот, что ли, наоборот, она имела в виду как раз себе так, да.
Or at least change it from being a pandemic to being an endemic. The question is what's going to happen over the next few weeks, as basically everyone is going to be infected with Omicron. Now let's just look at some orientation slides from the various countries, then the US, then South Africa, and then the UK, which I think is what we really need to follow at the moment to get good indications of what's going on. Now here we have the new daily confirmed cases. Now we've got India and Japan at the bottom there, then Canada, well the Omicron's certainly on the rise there, isn't it? The United States and Italy, likewise, Greece and Portugal, Spain, France, United Kingdom, Ireland, Denmark, and of course the United Kingdom and Ireland and Denmark are all highly vaccinated countries, and yet we're getting many cases. Now, how is that transposing into illness? So let's look at the number of hospital patients. Now, we are starting to see an increase. There's a definite trend to increase, but we'll see this is actually quite complicated. And one thing that's slightly concerning me at the moment is countries like the United States and France that use mostly messenger RNA vaccines, whereas the United Kingdom use some adenovirus vector vaccines. I'm just wondering if that's made a difference, because the only adenovirus vector vaccine used in the United States, of course, was the Johnson & Johnson, which hasn't been used that much. More to come on that shortly, I would think, but let's just carry on with this orientation now. You can see the hospitals there, so Canada, Portugal, Ireland, Denmark, United Kingdom, Spain, Italy, United States, France. So definite increases in some areas according to our world in data. Now these are intensive care units. Now here we see the United Kingdom, Canada, Denmark, Portugal, relatively low numbers. Italy a bit higher. Ireland, despite having lower number of patients in hospital, they're quite a lot in intensive care, relatively speaking to the United Kingdom, for example. Spain, France and the United States in terms of patients in intensive care. So that is a little more concerning. It does mean that there's probably a bit to go on this pandemic. Now, having looked at that, I just want to look at the South African data again now. This is the data from South Africa we keep a close eye on, of course, on this channel, because it does tell us quite a lot. And here we see that the hospital cases have actually been going down, which is pretty good news. And here we see the patients actually in hospital, up slightly on yesterday, but still only 1,417 patients on oxygen. So month on month we see that the hospitalisation is going down. I know this data is incomplete yet, but the numbers are down. So just over 9,000 today, but only 1,400 on oxygen, which is good. But it's just been occurring to me that in South Africa they had a lot of natural immunity, and they used a fair bit of Johnson & Johnson vaccine as well. Although they did use Pfizer, and we've seen in the last report that it did work equally well with T cells. So get the impression that this is still incomplete. We haven't worked everything out yet. Now I want to look at the United States now. A bit of a data splurge from the States here. Now this is these are the cases in the States, and now we see that there's very high numbers of cases for these last 2 days, as we've seen, very high numbers indeed. And this is the 400,000 cases a day line. So no question that the Omicron surge is well underway in the United States.
So this is my guide and expert during the entire week here on Sardinia. Who doesn't want to live a long and healthy life? My name is Niklas Ekstedt, and I run 3 restaurants. My greatest passions are food and health. Since I recently crossed the 40-year-old mark, and it feels like I'm in the middle of my life, thoughts of living for as long as possible run through my mind more frequently. There are 6 mythical areas in the world where it's common that people live to become 100 years or more. These places are called the blue zones. How come you get so old in these places? Who are the people living there? How do they live? What do they eat? And what is the secret to a long and healthy life? I have decided to travel the world and visit the blue zones to get answers to my questions.
This is the first time I cook breakfast for a 100-year-old man. Cafe. Look at that! Jeez! Are you kidding me? She has her own radio show?
Yeah, no.
You have sex up to a high age as well. Are you done for today, or are you going to do more with?
No, I've already been here for 2 hours.
You are hipsters.
Yes, but we started it.
Hopefully, I will come back knowing how to live to the magic age of 100 or even more.
What you're saying, actually, is that my diet can change my gene? Yes, exactly. But you believe in the devil?
Yes.
In hell? Yeah. Bye-bye. It's just difficult to understand. I mean, he's born in 1915.
Чудо ждешь с 31 декабря, особенно когда год был не очень.
I've just arrived on this beautiful island of Sardinia in Italy, and I'm on my way to a region on the island called Ogliastra.
The Ogliastra District consists of 15 smaller mountain villages here in Sardinia. This is the place where the world's first blue zones were discovered. Here, the amount of people over the age of 100 years old are more than double compared to the average in the rest of the world. It is the most isolated and poor part of Sardinia, where people basically live the same way they've always done. Many do still use the local language Sardo. It is a special dialect that is hard to understand, even for native Italian speakers.
Driving in Italy is always a little scary. You don't know what they're up to. And I'm on my way to meet my travel companion and my expert here on the island, Pierre. I've heard that he's a bit of a character.
Pierre is a Greek anthropologist working as a researcher at the Sardinian Blue Zone Observatory for Longevity. And the rumor says he does not really live as he learned.
Finally!
Niklas.
Pierre!
Yes, finally. We made it together. I heard so many things about you.
Likewise.
But I have some little secrets, local ones, traditional here, to make you
So we should
discover.
roll straight away?
So we have to go now.
Exciting! You are my living GPS. How did you end up here on Sardinia?
Yes, because I came 12 years ago after
Go down here.
40 years of travel in the world, Arabian countries, Central Asia, Africa.
Really?
Yes, and now we are studying this famous longevity.
Yes, the longevity on this island is super famous. And is that linked together with history as well?
Yes,
With-
of course, of course. I study some documents, Roman period, and we have one example from one who lives more than 90 years at this epoch.
So you think that even going back to the Roman period,
Yeah.
people lived to be 90 years old in
Yes.
this region?
Yes.
And
some
that
of
would
them.
be, of course,
It's incredible.
incredible,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
back then people lived to be a 30,
Yes.
40 years
and
old.
we have the proof.
In the blue also on Sardinia, people have been living the same way for thousands of years. In general, the women have been taking care of the household, while the men have been working in the mountains as chefs. This is an old clan society where people have always been poor, but managed to get by due to their strong bonds between families and relatives and generations, always looking out for each other.
Amici miei venite, qui c'è una novità, l'orchestra del paese ci vuole far ballare.
Ну это естественно.
So, where are we going? We are going to a farm. They're waiting for us for the milking of the goats.
Left?
Yes.
Milky goats.
The people waiting for us at the farm Nuraja Murtabas are the owners and the couple Franca and Massimo.
And we call them in their language.
Sardinian.
Yes.
Franca, chi dove siete?
Hola!
Saluda.
Saluda a todos. Niklas, Ekstad, Franca, Massimiliano, Massimo. So you are in the field a lot, a sort of paradise here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Quite. Good listen.
Yeah.
The centenarians, they were living in such a way and style of life. Now you become a shepherd.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
the goats